So last night, we had a Democratic town hall hosted by Anderson Cooper of CNN, and it was interesting. So Clinton obviously wanted more airtime to try and chip away at Bernie's gigantic lead in New Hampshire, and whether or not it was a smart move is yet to be seen. We're going to have the New Hampshire primary very shortly, so we'll know exactly how that goes down, and at this point, I think we can be confident enough to say how much Bernie Sanders is going to win by in New Hampshire, because he's up like at least 20 points at the moment. So this was Clinton's desperate attempt at the end here to try to plead with New Hampshire voters to change their mind. So what did the Snap poll say about who won this town hall event? Well, Heavy.com has 91% for Bernie Sanders and just 9% for Hillary Clinton. Syracuse.com has 85% for Bernie, 11% for Hillary, and 3% for a tie. And strangely enough, I wasn't able to find any of the more mainstream sites with their own polls. Usually, or recently, you've had Time does a poll. They didn't have one for this time around. Also, Drudge Report has it, but I'm not sure if they only did the Republicans, or they may have done the Democratic debates once or twice, but then they stopped. And I think Slate used to do Snap polls, but now they don't. And maybe it's a little bit of a conspiracy theory here, but a lot of the writers for Slate are kind of openly for Hillary Clinton, so perhaps they got sick of putting up these Snap polls and seeing Bernie Sanders win by 1.5 miles, and they decided, how about we don't put them up anymore? So all I was able to find, maybe you guys could find some other ones as well here, but Heavy.com and Syracuse.com were the only two that had Snap polls. So overall, you can see that online, like after almost every debate, Bernie Sanders won by a lot. Now, to be fair to Hillary, when we get to the scientific polls, usually Bernie's victories in the debates and the town halls actually shrinks. He still ends up winning, but his margin of victory is much smaller than it was when you just look online. And I have to be honest with you guys, from my perspective, now granted, this is just my opinion, and I'm sure a lot of you guys will disagree with it, I think that Bernie Sanders staffers told him before the town hall event yesterday, okay, reel it in. Pump your brakes a little bit. You've been screaming, you've been shouting in the previous debates and town halls, and, people have criticized him for that. So relax and talk in a lower tone and be more down to earth and sure, focus on policy substance, but you can get a little more personal as well. And there were some more personal questions from Anderson Cooper that, in my opinion, were a little silly, but he definitely took it down a couple decibel levels. And I have to say that while other people are saying, oh, that's a good thing, I actually don't like that. I don't like anything that takes away from Bernie in his most raw, uncensored form, because that's what got him to this point in terms of his tremendous surge in the polls from when he launched his campaign until now. I mean, the dude had 6% in Iowa just last year, and he nearly won it. He lost by like 0.2%, if that, once you include the weird coin flips and shit like that. So what got him to that point was being himself. See, in my opinion, I think the only people that are going to criticize him for, oh, you're a little too loud, you're screaming a little too much, the only people that are going to say that are people who are 100% on the side of Hillary already, and they have no intentions of ever changing their mind, and they're not open to facts or reason or more data or information. So why would you listen to those people? Their criticisms are not constructive criticisms. Their criticisms, if anything, are the opposite, and they might hurt you. So I would say to Bernie, no, don't listen to your staffers. Don't listen to whoever's trying to coach you as to how to act. You're good at this. All you care about is the policy substance. You're as wonky as it gets. So get out there, and if you get passionate about it, and if you start yelling about it, so be it. And it just happens to be the case that when you're more into what you're saying, and when you believe it more and you emote more, it actually has a big effect on the people in the crowd. People can tell when you like what you're saying and when you care about what you're saying is the better way to put it. So if you care about the substance and you care about making a difference, which he does, there's no reason to put a governor on that. There's no reason to say, okay, well, we're going to slow it down a little bit here. Why? The logic of it doesn't make sense to me. So, again, people disagree with me. They say, hey, he showed a more human side, and people needed to see that more human side in order for him to do well. I just disagree. I think the evidence shows that he's been loud and screaming and very passionate up till this point. Why would you stop? I mean, it got you to this point. It's going to get you past Clinton if you stick to that. So in terms of substance, needless to say, you guys already know my take. I think Bernie hit the nail on the head. The first words out of his mouth were about money and politics and corruption. I think he gave the more detailed and accurate responses, so it's no contest on that stuff. But in terms of all the things that shouldn't matter, how you command a room and the way that you can, the way you speak, I disagree with a lot of people who say Hillary's bad at that stuff. I think she's great at that stuff. I mean, if you want to see like a classic sleazy politician, look at Ted Cruz, look at Martin O'Malley, look at Marco Rubio. I mean, they're so plastic, and you could sniff that out from a mile away. Hillary doesn't strike me as that. I mean, again, I know she plays the game of politics, and I know she's deeply corrupt, and she's taken a lot of money from big money interests, and so I'm not with her. But I think that she's great at all the intangibles, and I think that the only way people are going to look past that and more people are going to go to Bernie is if Bernie keeps doing what he's been doing, which is being loud and aggressive and caring only about the issues. So while others are saying, hey, it was his best performance and this and that, I actually disagree with that. I think he should continue to be himself. Don't calm down. Your passion got you to this point. It's going to continue to get you further. So that would be my advice to him. And again, this is all speculation. I have no clue if this is what his people told him behind the scenes, but it just struck me as that because he seemed more sedated and relaxed than he's been at previous times. And, that's not what's going to propel you forward. So if I had to guess, I would say that, he's still going to win New Hampshire. But did this help him overall in terms of the national polls? I don't know, maybe not.